Two realms flow, decisive killing. Jiang Shu, who holds the proficiency panel, wears two realms. In the real world, vitality is revived. The martial arts powerhouse punches the mountains and rivers, the genetic warrior's life leaps, and the warship's mecha is as agile as a dragon. Immortal martial world, Gendan immortal, divine power unification, Nirvana true lord, Dharma heaven and earth. In the real world of the evolution of all things, I am the only one. In the world of immortal martial arts where strength is paramount, with massive resources, create a magnificent avenue. In the white blade, in the world of murder. I will strike hard in both worlds. This book is also known as, How Did You Become a Saint in Your Physical Body After 3 Years of Recovery of Vitality, Dishonest Master Wants to Become an Immortal, and Two Realms. Money has just been by my side in a different way. Keywords of the novel. Two Realms. A immortal martial giant comes out of the low martial liver with no pop-ups. Two Realms. A immortal martial giant comes out of the low martial liver. Download the complete set of TXT. Two Realms. A immortal martial giant comes out of the low martial liver. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Jiang Shu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Jiang Shu. The start of high school in the 3rd year is always particularly early. Jiqing 5th High School. Jiang Shu first ran around the playground for 2 laps, then walked into the long corridor, adjusted his breathing for a few minutes, tied a steady horse stance, and his body undulated slightly like waves. At this moment, the sky was dim, and there was still a layer of unsolved thin ice on the lake surface in front of the corridor. Martial arts. How can one truly enter the realm of martial arts? Jiang Shu murmured inwardly. In his previous life, he was seriously ill and bedridden, but passed away at the age of 30. So in this life, after breaking the prenatal mystery and awakening his special abilities 3 months ago, he only planned to take one path. Practicing martial arts. Only by attributing great power to oneself can one truly control one's own destiny. The drifting thoughts were quickly retrieved, and Jiang Shu imagined himself as a bowl of turbid water. Quiet, impurities settled, and the water was clear in color. This is the bowl of water method he obtained in his past life, which, when combined with horse steps, complements each other and achieves twice the result with half the effort. When starting, the toes are tightly clenched like chicken feet, the legs collapse, the waist is lifted, and the abdomen is contracted. When lying down, the toes loosen like duck fins, the legs loosen, the waist sits, and the abdomen bulges. Between these ups and downs, a red sun rises from beyond the distant mountains. The warm-toned sunshine, along with the cold wind of January, hit Jiang Shu's already eared hair. Under the thick hair, sweat was steaming, and the bulging temples were nowhere to be seen. It wasn't until the end of Jiang Shu's station post and he took a shower back in the dormitory that the morning alarm in the dormitory rang. Gradually, students in groups of 3 or 2 began to enter the campus at the school gate. He strolled through the campus, hearing and seeing clearly, listening to all the discussions of his classmates. A pen, a lamp, a miracle every night. Yesterday was really busy for me. I really want to switch to a martial arts student. It said that all I need to do is stand on a stand every day, and I can do whatever I want at other times. As for us, we study at 7 o'clock a.m. and 9:30 p.m., eat worse than pigs, sleep later than dogs, and wake up earlier than chickens. Envy. Who would become a martial arts student if you're not a scumbag? Didn't the homeroom teacher say so? The so-called martial arts is actually a national college entrance examination reform test, and the schools that martial arts students can enter are mostly junior colleges. How can they compare to us future undergraduate students? You can't say that either. As long as you sense the chi and blood in your body, you can apply for exemption from admission to undergraduate universities. If you can transport chi and blood, that's even more impressive. You can go straight to the top-tier universities. Our school only has a few top-tier universities. If we go any further, the university. Ho ho, what kind of peerless martial arts do you think horse stance stakes are? This is the basic skill. It is the basic skill that cannot make you become a Superman at a time when you get started. You can go to see the coaches in the martial arts school. One by one, they seem to beat sandbags very well, but some of them can make horse stance stakes small, and their temples bulge up. In fact, they are modern fighting skills, not real martial arts. Let's endorse them honestly, small.town SWAT. Bah, what's wrong with the small.town SWAT? After being admitted to the undergraduate course, he will find a stable and decent job after graduation. How many people dream of this? Be content. If a horse steps a small pole and senses one's own chi and blood, one can directly enter any undergraduate university without taking the exam. But in major high schools, except for some students who have no hope of undergraduate studies and are planning to go to vocational schools to show off, almost no one applies for martial arts. I'm already in my senior year of high school, and no one would joke about their future. However, some freshmen who have just entered their first year of high school have less academic pressure and are curious and interested. They have started watching the Ma Bu Zhuang videos released by the Education Bureau, fantasizing that one day they can achieve success in Ma Bu Zhuang and enter university without taking the college entrance examination. Jiang Shu walked through the crowd, up the 5th floor, and knocked on the office door. Come in. The voice of the homeroom teacher Lao Yen rang out, and Jiang Shu pushed the door in. I saw Lao Yen continuously typing on the computer, as if organizing some materials for the start of school. Jiang Shu, what's up with coming over here? Yen Dihao looked up and was somewhat surprised. Jiang Shu's grades are in the middle of the class. If you work hard and have good luck, perhaps you can still get into a bachelor's degree. Students at this level often have a very low sense of presence in the class. You may not necessarily enter the office once throughout the entire semester. I don't know why I came this time, so I took the initiative. Teacher Yen, I am here to apply for a leave of absence. Jiang Shu cut straight in. After practicing martial arts, his thoughts became more crystal clear, and he simplified things. Taking a leave of absence. Is something happening at home? Unable to take care of his work, Yen Dihao frowned slightly and stood up directly, asking with concern. No, I'm planning to transfer to a martial arts student, and in the last semester, I plan to study horseback riding at home. Martial arts students. This. Upon hearing the 3 words, martial arts student, Yen Dihao fell silent, and his persuasive words suddenly choked up in his throat. Last November, the school leaders organized a meeting. The content of the meeting is that as long as students actively apply to become martial arts students, the class teacher must not have any obstruction and must pass it as soon as possible. Jiang Shu, should we reconsider? Actually, your grades are promising for a bachelor's degree. Even if you switch to a martial arts major, you still need to take the college entrance examination. If you haven't reached the level of sensing chi and blood, you can't really enroll without taking the exam. Teacher Yen doesn't require you to listen to class and do homework like other students do. If you have time, come to class and listen. If you have time to do exam questions, you won't be completely blank in your mind even after taking the college entrance examination. The preparation of both civil and military skills is actually quite good. After all, there is still time before the college entrance examination, so make arbitrary decisions. At present, there are no other teachers in the office besides him, and Yen Dihao couldn't help but speak up. He has been teaching and nurturing for more than 20 years, which is extremely traditional. He hopes that all the students under his command can smoothly enter a university that he is satisfied with. The so-called martial arts, Shima Bu Zhuang, in his eyes is not the true path, but like a sword walking on the side. If the applicant is really a poor student at the end of the academic year, it's not a big deal. Could Jiang Shu, there is definitely hope for pursuing a bachelor's degree. Teacher Yen, my decision has been made. Without much words, Jiang Shu submitted the application form. He has understood the relevant process, and as long as it involves martial arts students, the school will directly agree. This phenomenon can only prove that the martial arts of this world are not as simple as their classmates have seen. Okay. I looked at Jiang Shu several times and then at the signature in the parent section of the application form. Yan Dihao let out a deep sigh, and now he only hopes that taking a leave of absence is a decision made by himself, as a student, after careful consideration. Thank you, Teacher Yan. If there's nothing else, why don't you go back to the classroom first, Jiang Shu? Later, I'll tell my classmates that we'll have a small farewell ceremony. After all, we've been together for over a year and we definitely have feelings for each other. No need, it's just a leave of absence. There will be a meeting day. Simply rejecting Lao Yan, Jiang Shu turned around and left. After breaking the mystery of the fetus, the consciousness of the previous life dominated. In this world, apart from his parents who gave birth to and raised him, and his sister who grew up together, no one else can really stir a ripple in his heart. Moreover, in my past life, I was already 30 years old. Reviving a lifetime, the mind surpasses the time. What's there to talk about with a group of inexperienced high school students? There are more and more students in the school, chattering like sparrows. Some students in the classroom have already started writing furiously and copying winter homework. Jiang Shu did not choose to tidy up the pile of books in his desk, but went straight from the teaching building to the empty dormitory. A semi-transparent panel appeared in my mind. Jiang Shu, Dying Dynasty Language/Writing. Introduction, 926/1000, Ma Buzhuang. Shao Cheng, 526/1000, Countdown to Two Realms Shuttle. Midnight. I didn't expect that after waiting for 3 months, Xia Guo still hasn't announced the true martial arts cultivation method. Even if there is a permanent certificate on the panel, the progress of the horse step pile slows down as it progresses further. Before the college entrance examination, I should only be able to stay at the level of De Cheng, carry my qi and blood, and enter the top tier without taking the exam. Being able to enter a prestigious university has already led over 90% of the students in the 5th high school. But with the support of my parents in this lifetime, why can't I compete with the university? The Dying Dynasty consists of 18 prefectures, 270 counties, and thousands of county towns. Every county town has martial artists who practice dirty martial arts. As long as there is enough silver, you can learn martial arts by joining the county martial arts school. Jiang Shu recalled all the information he had gathered in Pingling County at that time. He didn't know the martial arts realm on Xuanqing, how to divide it in the future, and how to cultivate martial arts. But he knew about the other world, the 3 realms of warriors in the Dying Dynasty and Pingling County. Grinding the skin. Forge bones. Exercise dirty. Remember clearly the sentence a storyteller said when closing the fan. Those who practice martial arts in the dirty realm, with their strength entering the dirty realm, have a lifespan of more than 2 jia zi. Newcomer's new book, Seeking Collection, Seeking Follow-up reading. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Home, Boss, 12 meat buns, 3 xiaomai, and 2 cups of soybean milk. The vehicle is starting, please hold on to it and sit firmly. Passengers who have just boarded the vehicle, please move inside. Jicheng 5th Middle School is located in a relatively remote area north of Jicheng, where students mainly live on campus. Therefore, on weekends, Jiang Shu competes with a group of classmates to get on the bus. But today, the bus is unusually empty. Jiang Shu looked back at the school through the car window. The cultural and technological development level of Xuanqing is similar to his previous life, much like another parallel world of Earth. Jiang Shu became increasingly convinced that the world was not as calm and simple as it seemed on the surface. What is the truth behind it? Perhaps one will only know when they have fully entered the realm of martial arts and their social status has been elevated to a certain level. Jiang Shu squatted on the horse stance and sat on the seat, digesting the steamed buns and soybean milk that had already fallen into his stomach. Whether it's today or the 10th day of the first lunar month, there aren't many cars on the street. The bus was not very congested, but it only took 40 to 50 minutes to reach the terminal. Jiang Shu transferred to the bus and closed his eyes for another hour before returning to the nearest station to his home. The long and arduous journey that used to be felt, now that I am practicing martial arts with peace of mind, I feel that it is nothing more. He got off the car carrying his luggage and looked up at everything familiar. Under a vast azure and emerald sky, several villages are scattered and orderly, with 4 lanes of road stretching endlessly. Ahead is a century-old mountain village that has been developed into a tourist attraction. From here lies the bustling city of Jicheng, bustling with traffic. This is located in the south of Jicheng City, surrounded by blue rivers and green mountains. It is a populous area with many outsiders and elderly people. Qingjiang Garden. The old residential area for demolition and resettlement built in the 2000s has extremely narrow building spacing. Under the building, several private cars that had not been washed for a long time were parked at every opportunity. 301, climbing the stairs, Jiang Shu took out the key, opened the door, and a wave of warm air came towards him. Recently, the first leader conducted an inspection at Xinjiang University and gave an important speech. Contemporary students need more new faces. The living room at home is not big. On the sofa that is over 2 meters long, Jiang Yenue stands with her legs crossed, facing the warm air from the air conditioning. Her potato chips in her mouth are crunching and she is collapsing without any image. In front of the sofa is a 65-inch LCD TV, which is playing the replay of yesterday's news. Why don't you watch your food channel today? What's the solution? My older brother is already planning to become a martial arts student. As a younger sister, how can we not get to know each other well? Upon hearing Jiang Shu's return, Jiang Yenue stretched lazily, holding a red envelope in her hand, and naturally stood up and turned around. He is 1.68 meters tall, with round and straight legs wrapped in pure white cotton pants on his plush cotton slippers. Unlike her ordinary older brother, Jiang Yenue has been a child of someone else's family from childhood to adulthood. Participated in essay and math Olympiad competitions in primary school and won several awards in Jicheng City. In junior high school, my academic performance never fell below the top 3 of my grade. At the end of the last semester, I was even admitted to Jicheng No. 1 high school ahead of schedule, so I didn't have to worry about the high school entrance exam like ordinary students. I thought you were going to talk about your feelings with your classmates at school and come back later tonight. Seeing his own brother walking over, he handed him the red envelope that he had already prepared in his hand. Oh, I worked hard and saved a fortune of 800 yuan for the new year. Jiang Yenue patted Jiang Shu's shoulder with a very old-fashioned tone. Poor and wealthy, these 800 yuan are your sister's great support for you. Also, if we can learn this martial arts, we can learn it. I don't want to learn it anymore. In the future, when I start my own business, I will be my sister's bodyguard. With President Jiang eating a bite of pork ribs, with you Jiang Shu drinking a sip of soup. Nervous. Taking off Jiang Yenue's hand, Jiang Shu rudely knocked on his sister's head. I didn't expect to feel the soft pomelo peel instead of the scalp when I knocked it down. Hey! I just said you can definitely learn something online. The pomelo balls are high and full. Not only are they full of special pomelo fragrance, but they can also prevent sneak attacks. Jiang Yenue quickly took a step back and proudly raised her head. Suddenly, she looked at Jiang Shu with confusion and took another step forward. Her hand moved from her head all the way to Jiang Shu's nose. Jiang Shu. Are you secretly growing taller behind my back again? Even when I measured last time, you were only a little taller than me. Naive. You're still a top student. I don't even understand the simple truth that practicing martial arts can increase your skills. Cut, with my perfect height, do I still need to practice martial arts? I'm not sure if I'll increase in height, but practicing martial arts will definitely increase my appetite. Just have you as a foodie at home. Aren't you? Jiang Shu glanced sideways at the sofa, where various snack bags had already filled the trash can. Pooh. I'm a foodie. I'm a food enthusiast. It's different from you, a bucket that can dry 5 bowls of white rice with just a few pieces of meat. Jiang Yenue gritted her teeth, but why do you eat like this? You're not fat, I envy you so much. You can also practice martial arts. Did your parents say when you'll be back? Just like you, I wake up before 5 o'clock and stand still. Whenever I can get up at 5 o'clock and read a book, I jumped to become your senior 2 years ago, you know. I believe it. Jiang Shu nodded. He never doubted the intelligence of his sister. Although they played together when they were young, their academic performance improved day by day. Mom said she's going to buy a batch of goods today and will come back as soon as they arrive. Dad's not sure, but he also said he will definitely come back before 10 o'clock. Jiang Masu Lizzie was the first to work in a clothing factory. After the factory closed down, she gritted her teeth and opened a clothing store with her family's savings. It is now considered an old store that has been in operation for over a decade. At the beginning, he was greedy and earned some money. However, in recent years, the overall environment has been bad and business has been sluggish, so now as long as the child is at home, they will choose to close the door earlier and come back to accompany the child. Jiang's father, Jiang Yongyi, was unemployed in middle age and replaced his old gasoline car with a tram to drive Didi. I can't earn much money, but I'm also free and not very affected. Jiang Shu, the times may really be changing. I went to watch the replayed news today and found that in the past 2 months, almost every day's news talked about practicing martial arts. What are the benefits of practicing martial arts? In this era, no matter how advanced your martial arts are, can you still be bulletproof? Jiang Yenue couldn't help but ask. Although she has high intelligence, she is still young and has not left school. The knowledge learned is often absolute, either black or white. So it is most likely to fall into a cognitive barrier and fail to understand the magical aspects of martial arts. Can stand still. Jiang Shu's words are concise and concise. He knows too well what to say to someone. It is meaningless to tell someone like my younger sister that after practicing martial arts, their chi and blood will grow stronger, they will break through the limits of humanity, and their lifespan will be extended. Even if it means being able to dodge gunfire with high martial arts skills, in her eyes, it's just that. Can we dodge bullets or missiles? But being able to stand still, 3-character explosive kill. Sure enough, Jiang Shu's words had just come to an end. Jiang Yenue was stunned, her bright eyes bulging under her long eyelashes, filled with suspicion. However, when she saw Jiang Shu nod her head again with certainty, she suddenly jumped up. Brother! Can you teach me how to stand on horseback? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Crossing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Crossing. It's not right for you to stand like this. The horse stance emphasizes a undulating posture, crouching like a galloping horse, and creating a virtual top in the air. This rise and fall requires standing up in a horse out of thin air. One must master all the squatting and vigorous movements, otherwise the body's center of gravity will be on the knee, and standing for a long time will inevitably lead to accidents. The meaning of floating virtual ceiling is to climb high and have a broad view. Our floor is too low and not suitable. Tuanzi, as a beginner, just stand on the balcony and look out. Jiang Shu taught hand in hand. Tuanzi is a new nickname he gave Jiang Yenue during the Chinese New Year. At that time, my parents were so excited that they dug up some photos of their siblings from their childhood. Among them, the photos of my younger sister during her infancy are the most adorable, with a round and tender little chubby face. Jiang Shu immediately thought of the previously popular emoji pack. Changchao Yen Tuanzi. Immediately took a pen and drew a few strokes on the paper. The moon is a reunion. Yen Yu, Yen Tuan, no difference. Jiang Yenyue, long grass Yen Tuanzi, no difference at all. Jiang Shu pointed to his sister's standing posture, and his mind gradually relaxed. He has been crushing himself too tightly these 3 months. That side of the world is not so peaceful and beautiful on the mysterious star. County government, wealthy households, gangs. Like 3 high mountains sinking heavily on the ordinary people of Pingling County, no one can avoid them, business stalls have not yet been set up, and exploitation has arrived layer by layer. To change one's destiny, one must practice martial arts. The county government has the most martial arts, but there is no way. Who can enter? Even wealthy gangs can learn martial arts, but without exception, they all have to sell their lives. The only one that doesn't require any connections or sacrifice is to join a martial arts school. 10 taels of silver, teach for a month. For ordinary people who are exploited layer by layer and have less than 1 or 2 silver coins left in a year of business, this money is a wealth that they will find difficult to accumulate for a lifetime. Despite the accumulation and hard work of 2 generations, they managed to hide 10 taels of silver and became disciples of a martial arts school. But this amount of money is only 1 month's martial arts training fee. A month later, it's not yet where you came from, where you're going back. Practicing martial arts is harder than reaching the blue sky. Jiang Shu is grateful that he was not entirely born into that world. Xuanqing also has gold and silver, and although the price of silver is not as high as gold, it is basically stable at around 1.5 yuan per gram. 10 liang, 500 grams, 2005. As an ordinary third-year high school student, he naturally can't afford this money, but he doesn't have parents. After thinking about what his parents promised him during the Chinese New Year, Jiang Shu couldn't help but be a bit distracted, while Jiang Yenyue's bright and excited eyes had gradually turned into despair. She stood up and realized what kind of devilish actions these seemingly simple horse steps were. My older brother often stands for a whole day, even sitting empty on a stool and standing on horseback. Is he a devil? I, Jiang Yenyue, am a genius in learning. He, Jiang Shu, is a genius in martial arts. Is it reasonable? Very reasonable. Self-doubt, self-persuasion, and proactive failure. Undoubtedly a top student girl, Jiang Yenyue quickly adjusted her mood, gave up struggling, and collapsed on the sofa. Genius is immeasurable. Genius cannot be compared. He Jiang Shu was able to stand still all day because he was a martial arts genius, and I, Jiang Yenyue, was not. She doesn't want to practice this martial arts for a minute anymore. As for Zhu Yan, if I can practice martial arts, I believe skincare products are also possible. In the future, become President Jiang and spend money to have the research institute specialize in research. This is much more reliable than practicing martial arts. Yes, that's it. Looking at Jiang Yenyue with a paralyzed look on her face, Jiang Shu suppressed the urge to draw it. He picked up the remote control and randomly selected a movie to play. He sat on the sofa, ready to take a good rest for a while. When there are only the last 10 minutes left in the movie, Jiang's father and mother are all coming back together. Glancing at the brother and sister sitting paralyzed on the sofa, the couple didn't speak and walked into the kitchen carrying the purchased vegetables, washing and cutting them. Unlike some families, Su Lizzie opened a shop in her early years and started from dawn to dusk. The cooking business at home is mostly entrusted to my father Jiang Yongyi. Dad, do you have pork ribs? I want to eat sweet and sour pork ribs today. Upon hearing the commotion in the kitchen, Jiang Yenue suddenly regained her energy and said with her head held high. Your brother practices martial arts, while I make pork ribs and radish soup, which is nutritious and helpful for digestion. Jiang Yongyi answered quickly. After his son decided to practice martial arts, he specifically searched for what he should do after practicing martial arts. As long as my son is at home, he wants to cook in different ways every day. It can be helpful for practicing martial arts and also make my son like it. I understand, but I don't love anymore. Don't ask, asking is like loving. I'll do it for you later. Okay. After working hard for nearly an hour, Jiang Yongyi brought the last dish of pork ribs and radish soup to the table and shouted. Here we go. Jiang Yenue will always be the first to serve, and the sweet and sour pork ribs on the table are located closest to her. Dad, I knew you loved me the most. No, it's just love. Pooh, what I'm talking about is nonsense. Your adult doesn't remember being a villain. Hee, I'll satisfy my craving first. Jiang Yenue was very quick, picking up a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs and chewing them carefully in her mouth. Her bright eyes narrowed into a line at this moment. Eat slowly, Lychee. Let's eat now. Here we go. When Su Lizzie finished tidying up her room and came out, one big and two small children were already sitting on the table waiting for her. She took out her phone and transferred some money to Jiang Shu's WeChat account, saying, Mom also needs money turnover in her business recently. The passbook in the bank hasn't expired yet, so I'll send you 5,000 yuan first. Is that enough? Although my son's academic performance has never been very good, he has hardly ever angered the two of them since childhood. After practicing martial arts, there is an indescribable maturity, as if one has grown up a lot in an instant. So, when he proposed the need for money, as a mother, he must fully support it. Although their parents still don't know what their son needs this money for. Although my current son is still a third-year high school student. That's enough, thank you, Dad and Mom. Without looking at my phone, I scooped out a bowl of pork rib soup for each of my parents. Then, I got up and filled a bowl with rice. I picked up a piece of pork rib and immediately started eating it. 5,000 transfers, but the three of them seem like nothing has happened. Only Jiang Yenue stood beside her, staring blankly at the dog. How much? 5,000. The sweet and sour pork ribs in my mouth suddenly lost their fragrance. Sure enough, it's just love. Her pocket money has never exceeded 50 yuan. Baby is bitter, baby doesn't say, baby needs to take another bite of sweet and sour pork ribs. Jiang Yenue turned her grief and anger into motivation and ate 2 pieces in a row. Even if it doesn't smell good, you have to eat it. We also need to eat big and special. Not a single piece can be left for that bastard Jiang Shu. Although it's already 5,000, it's fortunate that you're willing to take your own 800 yuan red envelope. Even deceiving my own sister. He's really damn it. Lychee, have you noticed that the price of meat has gone up again? Jiang Yongyi drank a mouthful of spararib soup and said, and I have seen that some good baijiu on the market has also gone up a bit. For ordinary people, clothing, food, housing, and transportation are always their top concerns. What's wrong? I think it's related to practicing martial arts. As long as it's meat, prices have basically increased. Chicken, duck, and meat are relatively good, while pork, sheep, beef, and fish have basically increased by 10% in price. So I actually believe Xiaoshu's judgment more and more now. In the future, our country will definitely vigorously promote martial arts. The current martial arts are like pigs on the wind. Whoever can stand, they can take off the earliest. Jiang Yongyi glanced at his son, ever since he said he wanted to become a martial arts student to practice martial arts. He, as a father, is basically concerned about the changes in the martial arts environment in China. However, Xiaoshu, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Your father also knows that practicing martial arts requires having connections and techniques for cultivation. We don't have anything, just take a ride. If you can get into undergraduate school with this, it's best. If you fail to perform well and get into college, it won't be a big deal. Your parents used to save a lot of money, so their future life won't be difficult. Dad, I will work hard. Without saying that he had already achieved great success, Jiang Shu served a large bowl of pork rib soup. Everything is a secret, a surprise, always waiting until the last moment to be revealed. During a family conversation, lunch ended. Jiang Shu stood up and took the initiative to tidy up the table. She was washing dishes around her apron in the kitchen. When Jiang Yanue saw her parents return to her room, she tiptoed closer and lowered her voice with a hint of flattery. Brother. What's wrong? Hee, your parents have already given you 5,000 yuan. When should you give back 800 yuan to your cutest and most obedient sister? I was originally planning to put on a big show in front of my old brother, to give him a helping hand in the snow, and he was moved to tears. Unexpectedly, my elder brother's composure was too high, and he didn't get much moved. My parents brought me rocket again, 5,000 yuan. When did the three of them discuss it? Why don't they know anything? Now it's okay, giving charcoal in the snow is not enough, adding icing on the cake is not even worth it. Jiang Shu is satisfied. What about myself? There are no delicious snacks left. Cute doll, no more. In the future, I'm afraid I won't even be willing to add ingredients to a cup of milk tea. No, milk tea is also gone. There's nothing left. At the thought of this, Jiang Yanue couldn't help but feel sad. Now she only hopes that her brother can have some conscience and return the 800 yuan that does not belong to him to his rightful owner. At this moment, hot water poured into the sink, and the oil on the plate was slowly smudged and stained. Jiang Shu glanced at his younger sister and said, "Have you ever seen a bucket of rice that can still be vomited out after being filled in?" Jiang Shu, I'm fighting with you. The day and night time of the dying dynasty is exactly opposite to that of Xuanqing. At this moment, it is Mao Shi, and the appearance of 6 o'clock in the morning is different from the clear sky on the mysterious star. The sky in this world seems to have always been dull. Even the rising red sun seems to have reached the end of its lifespan, with the sun weakly shining on the city of Pingling. A pile of soil was piled up, but Jiang Shu's figure appeared in the small house of more than 10 square meters. He sat on the bed, got up and scanned the surroundings of the room, confirming that all the hair under the decorations had not moved. I finally relaxed and checked the slightly longer wig on my head. I put on a half-worn jacket and put the fine silver I bought from Xuanqing Gold Store in each pre-sewn small bag on the jacket. Then, he stuffed 3 small bags of lime powder into his sleeve, inserted the electric stick behind him, and pushed the door out. Here. Outside Pingling County, Tsusha Lane. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ahu Martial Arts School. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Ahu Martial Arts School Tsusha Alley. The alley is full of twists and turns, crowded with hundreds of households. Every morning, an old man comes pushing a night incense cart, and the scent left behind permeates the entire alley, enduring for a long time. Jiang Shu has been living here for over 2 months now. He has been accustomed to all of this and his face remains unchanged. With a slight aura, he walked out quickly. This is located at the southernmost point of the outer city of Pingling County and is under the jurisdiction of the Green Snake Gang. Anyone who comes out of the alley and wants to work at a stall in the county town must pay 50 yuan to the Green Snake Gang every month. For the lowest class of people who earn only about 1 or 200 yuan a month, handing over 50 yuan is like being cut with a blunt knife. Although it is not fatal, it is bleeding profusely. But no one dares to resist. Because the leader of the Green Snake Gang is a true warrior. Skinning Realm Warrior. Old Manly, let's go to the escort agency to sweep the floor this time. The monthly salary is only 81. I think you should come to our Green Snake gang to sweep the floor. We'll give you 51 per month, but you don't need to pay any extra fees. We can earn an extra 21 per month. Why, don't you agree? Do you think we won't even give you 51? Tell me. At the entrance of Tsusha Lane, the members of the Green Snake gang who come here every month to collect regular fees curse and curse. The leader's name is Zhao Tai. 2 months ago, he became a concubine because his younger sister had become a prominent member of the gang, which resulted in such a deficiency. Old Li's legs trembled and he stuttered, but he dared not say anything. Jiang Shu frowned and quickly walked forward, throwing half a coin of silver into the bamboo basket containing the copper coins. The sound of the silver colliding with the copper coins was clear and resounding, successfully attracting the attention of several members of the Green Snake gang. Yo, isn't this Qin Fuzi's disciple? If you don't study your broken books well, you want to stand out. You bookworm, I'm afraid you don't even know. Qin Fuzi has already caught the eye of the Gao family in the inner city and will be a private school teacher in the Gao family next month. Now, I guess I don't even have the heart to teach, so I have to pack my luggage every day. I see you. Why don't you come to our Green Snake gang to pour out the night pot and be a companion for Mr. Li? Pour out more night pots, and you can also get a touch of masculinity. Reading. Reading is useless, and those Kiln sisters can't read. They're already 16 or 17, so they're still young, Master Qin is going, and that will happen afterwards. Jiang Shu's words were cold, but he accidentally kicked Old Li with his foot, gesturing to pay and leave quickly. When he first came here, Jiang Shu inquired about various news from Mr. Li at the beginning. This feeling needs to be remembered. Others are afraid of Zhao Tai, but he is not afraid. Greed for wine and lust, with fleeting steps. For Jiang Shu, who senses qi in blood and has a strength of over 300 pounds, such a person cannot withstand his punches and blows. Reading. Ha ha ha. Zhao Tai laughed wildly. His original name was Zhao De, but after gaining power, he changed his name to an old scholar. Is reading useful? Reading is useful. Why was the old scholar who changed his name at that time trembling and afraid of not being satisfied? What's wrong with knowing how to write? Our master doesn't know a single character, but who dares to say he's not a man? I see you, this kid. Why don't you drill into my pants and feel the real manly aura? Come on, crawl over. Zhao Tai crossed his legs and looked at Jiang Shu's gaze, as if a wolf in the jungle was teasing a rabbit. He has been staring at this Jiang Shu for a long time, with fair and tender skin. Although he doesn't have that kind of habit, Master Zheng, that's all. If you have prepared the tender skin and sent it, and received the reward from Master Zheng, in this area, don't walk horizontally. Previously, this rabbit was a student of Qin Fuzi, wearing a good tiger skin and not daring to go too far. But now, Qin Fuzi is leaving the outer city. This lost white and tender rabbit, play whatever you want. Zhao Yi, Jiang Xiaoge is young and immature. Tomorrow, I will go to the Green Snake gang and sweep the floor, asking him to pour out the night pot. Upon hearing Zhao Tai's words, Old Li, who had not left, immediately felt uneasy. His calloused and rough hands wrapped around the palm that Jiang Shu was about to grip. He turned around and begged for mercy. Everyone is still waiting to work. Mr. Zhao, you have a large number of adults. We will go to the hall tomorrow to announce that you will have a bright face. Pooh, what are you really? Zhao Yi, we're just bullshit. You can let us go. Everyone is in a hurry to work, we can't delay it, really can't delay it. Damn it, take the kid to report tomorrow. You don't need me to teach you how to do things, go away. Seeing more and more people at the entrance of Tsusha Lane, Zhao Tai restrained the anger he was about to unleash and kicked him out with all his pleading for mercy. The workmanship cannot be delayed. The monthly payment is already being used to cut meat with a dull knife. If it makes it impossible for someone to do the work and the crowd is excited, he may not be able to hold it down. The master and his disciples are practitioners of the great circulation of qi and blood, with one enemy facing thousands. He is not Zhao Tai. As for the diamond crotch, I just said let them go today. See you tomorrow, that's what happened tomorrow. Zhao Yi has a massive amount. Li, the old man, dared not rub the area where he had been kicked. With a grateful expression, he quickly pulled Jiang Shu out of the crowd. Scholar, read a book. After reading a book, you are also a useless person that anyone can bully. If it weren't for Mr. Li, who would have just let him slip through his crotch today in places like Tsusha Alley, would you still want to be a scholar? I'm sorry. Zhao Tai spat on the ground, kicked the bamboo basket, sat on the stool, and said, I put copper coins one by one, who dares to put one less, humph. A group of onlookers gathered around Zhao Tai with quick eyes and quick hands, flattering him and saying, Zhao looks up to him too much. It's his blessing to cross over. Is that something that ordinary people can penetrate under your crotch? A few days ago, I saw Yao Jia from Yangfang. That kind of charm is suitable for drilling under Zhao's pants. Damn it. Tell you to read more books, don't you believe it? That's Sister Yao in Yangfang. That's the gold-selling cave. I don't have much real silver in my hand, and I can't even drink tea inside. Looking at the ignorant ordinary gang members around me, Zhao Tai's mood was great, and his confidence suddenly rose. He proudly said, of course, I've been to this gold-selling cave once. Hey, Brother Zhao is indeed a wise and martial artist. I don't have Brother Zhao's abilities anymore, and I'm still a beginner. I just want to save money and go to the alley to have a good time. Which kiln sister is good from? Please give me some guidance. Tisk, it's all brothers. What can I say for guidance? I know a kiln lady in the bluegrass lane, but I'm getting tired of it after a while. You can come with me later and take you a chick to try what it means to play with 2 dragons and pearls. Zhao Gu is grand. It's my turn to be on duty at the gambling house this afternoon, and I'll be on duty for a few hours later. Damn it, if you go to the gambling house, just go to the gambling house and be on duty. You think you're eating official meals? Got it, I'll go later too. It's the 3rd room from the bottom in Beatsao Lane, and I'll keep the door for you. The members of the Green Snake Gang laughed heartily, completely oblivious to their surroundings. Jiang Shu, who was dragged out of the crowd by Mr. Li, stood sideways and stayed for a while until he listened carefully to all the conversations. Jiang Xiaoge, don't hold grudges for what Zhao Yi said today. Don't even hold grudges on your face. Tomorrow, you will go to the hall with the old man to sweep the floor and pour out the night pot. The old man knows you are a good reader and can't do such lowly work. The old man will do this job, so just go over and wait for Zhao Yi to speak up. Just say that you poured out the night pot. Pulling Jiang Shu's sleeve, Old Li lowered his voice and rubbed his calf, saying. He fled from another county town, only took a nap on the way and woke up without a girl. As for my son, even before the chaos began, if my son is still alive, wouldn't my grandson be like Jiang Xiaoge, who knows how to read well? Old Li couldn't help but shed tears from the corners of his eyes, as he vividly remembered the first meeting he had with Jiang Shu. That time, he woke up early as usual, but the door of the earthen house opposite him, which had never been inhabited, was unexpectedly opened. A young man with a clear image of a scholar walked out of it and called out to him, Uncle. For refugees like him, even a little bit of respect can make it hard for him to forget. Uncle Li, you should leave directly today and not stop me. Jiang Shu sighed and breathed a sigh. Zhao Tai's various difficulties, in his opinion, were just a punch. Kill Zhao Tai and leave in an instant. Even if the Green Snake Gang uses all their strength to search, as long as he moves forward towards the inner city, he can safely return to Xuanqing in just 12 hours. But as soon as Mr. Li turned around, he couldn't punch with this punch. He can leave, Mr. Li. Maybe he's risking his life here. Oh my child, I won't stop you. If you don't get into your crotch, then Zhao Yi really knows how to beat people. They use those saltwater-soaked leather strips to beat people. You don't know, you haven't seen them before. You tender meat, how can you withstand such a beating? After living in Xusha Alley for so many years, he knows very well what the Green Snake Gang looks like. When this happened to others, he pretended to be obedient and didn't see it. The world is like this, what can he do as an old refugee? But brother Jiang. He has been really good to him in the past 2 months. There is no trace of disgust, and I occasionally bring myself some wine and food in the outer city. How could I bear to ask Jiang, such a young man, to pour the night pot for those filthy people? Just go there yourself. Anyway, I don't have a good background either. I've done this kind of thing countless times before. Feeling the concern in Mr. Li's voice, Jiang Shu stood still, unable to utter many words. Wah, if you don't want to go to the Green Snake Gang, then don't go. Just go read a book. At Qin Fuzi's place, 1 day is less than 1 day, so cherish it well. Okay. Mr. Li did not take the same route as before to the escort agency. And Jiang Shu watched as old Li left, took a deep look back at the entrance of Xusha Lane, and then walked towards the direction of the inner city. Pingling County is divided into inner and outer cities. The outer city, Pingling County's slums, are mostly composed of civilians from the county town and refugees from outside. The county government and wealthy families didn't like this mosquito meat, so they directly handed over the outer city to the gang to take care of. The inner city is the true county seat of Pingling. The thick city wall, made entirely of a single piece of blue bricks, stands tall and towering like a giant beast crawling. Outside the wall, there is a moat that is 10 meters wide, providing a clear separation from the outer city. At this point, it is already Chinchur. Jiang Shu walked extremely fast, passing through the suspension bridge and entering the inner city. Unlike the narrow and dirty alleys in the outer city, the streets in the inner city are paved with stone bricks, spacious and clean. On both sides of the long street, there are some small vendors who set up early, buying and selling various daily necessities and rare items that are difficult to see in the outer city. From afar, at the end, there is a huge square. In the center of the square stands a huge stone wall, engraved with all the major events that have occurred since the founding of Pingling County. Stopping for a moment, Jiang Shu did not look at the major events of the county town, but instead looked at the corner of the stone wall, where a simple map of the inner city was carved. Recognized the direction and walked towards the east. There are 7 martial arts schools in the inner city that Jiang Shu can inquire about. Every martial arts school has its own strengths. The White Crane Martial Arts School teaches the White Crane breathing technique and the White Crane entering the cloud pile. After a long practice, the body becomes light and ethereal, like a crane. The Turtle Spinning Martial Arts School teaches the turtle spinning breathing technique and turtle spinning back mountain piles. After long-term practice, the breath is long-lasting and has a health-preserving effect. Antelope Martial Arts School, teaching antelope breathing techniques and antelope jumping stakes. After a long practice, the speed is fast and the jumping power is amazing. Unlike the martial arts of Xuanqing, the pillar techniques here are combined with breathing techniques, which can quickly develop strength and step into the true martial arts. White cranes, spinning turtles, and antelopes are all excellent martial arts schools. The breathing techniques and pile techniques taught should surpass the horse stance pile he is currently learning. Especially for white cranes and spinning turtles, one has an ethereal and immortal aura, while the other may extend their lifespan for several years. But no matter how good the image is, no matter how long the lifespan is, how can it compare to real killing methods? In his mind, there flashed the stumbling gait of Mr. Li as he left today, and the appearance of Mr. Li almost kneeling under Zhao Tai begging for mercy. Jiang Shu squinted his eyes and walked extremely fast. Passing through 3 streets and alleys, a small square. At the easternmost end, a spacious bungalow courtyard caught his eye. There are still more than 20 steps away, and the howling sound of practicing has already begun to ring in waves. Upon joining the martial arts school, I received 10 taels of silver. At the door, there is a boy about 10 years old standing. 8 words are written on the black pole and white cloth that stands up. On the other side, there is a scale prepared to weigh the weight of the silver brought by the visitor. Jiang Shu glanced at the 4 characters on the plaque in the courtyard, confirmed their accuracy, and then pieced together a few scattered pieces of silver from his coat. The boy took it, weighed 10 taels of broken silver with a scale, and took out a voucher from the side, waiting for Jiang Shu to sign it. Jiang Shu rubbed his pen and signed proficiently. Step into the martial arts school. Ahu Martial Arts School. Teach the hungry tiger breathing method and hungry tiger sitting on cave piles. After a long practice, the breath surges and the fists and feet are fierce. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Stake Technique and Breathing Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Stake Technique and Breathing Method. In a courtyard of 300 to 400 square meters in size, more than 30 people practice martial arts continuously. Fist and foot capture, stone plate raised high. From Jiang Shu's current perspective, it was evident that all of these 30-plus people, except for a few, had reached the stage of transporting qi and blood. At this level, there is no longer a need for cotton jackets to keep warm. Between movement and stillness, qi and blood roll like waves, and the limbs and a large spine open and close vertically and horizontally, like a full bow, fully displaying momentum. He looked for a while before taking off his coat, carefully wrapping it in a small bag of lime powder and electric baton, and placing it on the edge of the yard. These fists and kicks may not be exquisite, but compared to the martial arts moves in previous lives and on Xuanqing, they clearly have a more killing and attacking aura. Jiang Shu was learning while fighting, moving towards an empty space. His body suddenly turned and he approached in an instant. He reached out his palms and formed claws, completing everything in one breath. Qiu Lao has risen, remain silent. Suddenly, the room to the south of the yard creaked and a small crack opened in the door. A beautiful-looking maid ran out of the middle and small school, her voice a bit soft. The apprentices practicing martial arts in the yard stopped at an extremely fast pace upon hearing this, adjusting their breathing and standing quietly in place. All martial arts schools in the county town rarely admit formal disciples. Most of them are apprentices, wearing regular training uniforms and practicing martial arts in external academies. Pay 10 taels of martial arts training fees every month, and only after 3 to 5 days can you listen to the master's teachings. My surname is Qiu. You can call me Qiu Shi or Qiu Lao. Before the person arrives, the voice comes out first. The voice of aging seems to be ringing in everyone's ears, stirring the eardrums. The door of the room was only fully opened at this moment. The old man walked out slowly, with a slightly hunched body and only a height of 1.6 meters. But every step taken trembled Jiang Shu's mind, like a bony hungry tiger walking towards the sheep. Martial arts is like climbing high mountains or deep waters. Those who lack great perseverance and grandeur cannot climb high places or venture deep into them. Even if it is the first realm of grinding the skin, they must long guard the post skill, breathe longer, carry qi and blood, and practice the skin with strength. Today, let's have a demonstration and invite someone. Qiu Lao's words have just fallen. The apprentice below, dressed in a black practice suit, walked out quickly and held a stone in his chest. The stone plate weighs about 500 pounds. With the apprentice's skills, it takes root on the ground, integrates waist and horse, transports qi and blood, and drinks loudly, directly lifting the stone plate to the chest. Amidst the puzzled gaze of several new apprentices, Qiu Lao stretched out his seemingly skinny arm, his 5 fingers forming claws, and struck the stone plate. There was no change in the stone plate, only a faint sound. Without any pause, take a second look. The stone plate trembled, and the edges fell on the fingertips. The 5 finger marks were incredibly clear. The third time. The stone plate exploded with several cracks, and at the center, there were 5.5-inch deep finger holes, which were terrifying. Those who come here know that standing stakes are divided into 3 stages. Qi and blood induction, qi and blood transportation, and a great circulation of qi and blood throughout the body. The strength corresponds to 300 pounds, 600 pounds, and 900 pounds respectively. After the circulation of qi and blood, a mysterious force will gradually emerge in the body. By using this force, our skin will develop into a skin membrane, which is the first realm of martial arts, the skin grinding realm. This realm is also divided into 3 stages. Cowhide, stone skin, and iron skin. Newcomers can come up and take a look one by one, and carefully understand. Without explaining too much about the differences in small realms, Chirpan has already provided the best answer. Qiu Lao stood by with his hands down. Jiang Shu took the lead and stepped out, feeling his finger hole. Subconsciously, he also extended his finger in. In the finger hole, there was still a trace of residual heat, feeling the true touch of the extremely rough finger hole, with fine stones sticking to his fingertips. In archery, even Wang Chongyang, who is the best in the world, cannot carve characters on the stone walls. In this world, the stone plate is actually only the first realm of martial arts. If I had such a realm and punched Zhao Tai on the spot, even if the leader of the Green Snake Gang came, how dare I say half a word? Grinding the skin. Cowhide, stone skin, and iron skin. This is the true martial arts. It is not simply an increase in power. The realm of grinding skin has such power. On the ground. In this world, the wonder of martial arts may be almost divine. Jiang Shu's blood surged and he forcefully suppressed his deep desire for strength. He took a few steps back, leaving the opportunity to experience the stone plate to other apprentices. You guys, some are learning. The new apprentices are coming out and learning breathing techniques and sitting piles with me for half an hour. The rest are also standing next to me practicing piles. Every human being is 5 feet apart, squatting down. 15 minutes later, seeing that the newcomers had already felt the warrior's ability, Qiu Lao spoke again. Each martial arts school's Xuangong has its own visual object. Our Ahu sitting cave stake at the Ahu Martial Arts School is to imagine oneself as a supreme ferocious tiger that has been hungry for several days, sitting inside the cave with patience and imminent eruption. Follow my breath. The sound of breathing, long and deep, is particularly clear in the quiet martial arts training field. Breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Jiang Shu, who had already completed his horse steps and sensed his own qi and blood, looked at Qiu Lao's figure and gradually found the rhythm of the hungry tiger breathing technique, like the hungry tiger sitting in a crouching position with a pile, waist, and hips in one. You, stop and go over there. I'll have your senior brother teach you the stake technique later. First, stabilize your foundation. Not all newcomers can find rhythm like Jiang Shu. In less than a quarter of an hour, Qiu Lao took credit and pointed to a chubby little boy among the new apprentices, gesturing for him to reach the edge of the yard. The little chubby man blushed and knew he was breathing uncontrollably. At this moment, the entire courtyard was practicing the hungry tiger breathing technique, and it was clear at a glance who had lost their breath. In no time, the newcomers who had arrived within the past 5 days were all flushed and walked to the other side, but Jiang Shu worked hard to persevere. In my mind, a panel slowly emerged. Jiang Shu, Hungry Tiger Breathing Method. Beginner, 6 out of 1000, Hungry Tiger Sitting Whole Pile. Beginner, 9 out of 1000, alright, stop it all and take care of the new ones. I don't know how long he stood, but Jiang Shu closed his eyes and insisted. He only heard the voice of Chou Lao in his ear, and then he vented his anger, almost sitting on the ground. A strong hunger sensation arises from the intestines, with a low growl in the voice. Every martial arts school has its own unique skills, such as the stake technique and breathing technique. However, having only stake technique and breathing technique is not enough. After all, in the black market of the county, it is not impossible to buy stake technique and breathing technique. But why do so many people still come to the martial arts school to practice martial arts one after another? That's because secret medicine. Whether it's shuagong or breathing techniques, they are all transporting qi and blood. Without enough meat to supplement, it will only damage the body and weaken qi and blood. But meat is rare. Most of the meat in Pingling County is in the county government and in wealthy households. If ordinary people want to buy some meat, the price is not lower than the martial arts training fee in the martial arts school. But when they join the martial arts school, with our secret medicine from the Ahu martial arts school, not only can they make up for the soreness of the skin, flesh, muscles, and bones after breathing, but they can also strengthen their qi and blood. One serving is worth 10 pounds of meat. Of course, what you're drinking now is only broth diluted with a secret medicine. But even so, this soup has no place to sell outside. Chou Lao's breath lingered long, and he shouted loudly. As soon as the sound fell, two maids picked up wooden barrels from the room. The unique aroma of the secret medicine broth wafts in the yard, hooking every apprentice's appetite. Under the gaze of the maidservant, the apprentices lined up, each of whom happened to make a bowl of broth, daring not to spill a single penny. After walking around the entire courtyard several times, watching over 30 apprentices without any disturbance, Chiu Lao Kai said slowly. Martial arts includes practice, cultivation, and combat techniques. Stake technique is practice, breathing technique is nourishment. After you finish this round of Hungry Tiger sitting on cave steak, I will take you to learn about our martial arts school's fighting techniques. Tiger, there are only 3 types of killing moves. Pop. Lift. Cut. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Murder never stays overnight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Murder never stays overnight. Tiger shaped 3 movements: throwing, lifting, and shearing. Pounce, heavy momentum. To capture people's hearts and souls. Hungry tigers pounce on sheep. Before pouncing, the tiger's fierce eyes are enough to scare a flock of sheep. Seemingly a simple pounce, it actually requires practicing eye contact, body burst, and arm and palm strength. If there's one missing point, it's not really a true pounce. Xiu Hai shouted loudly, his throat emitting a tiger roar. I saw him jump up, his muscles and bones burst, he punched, and the air exploded. Lift. When the tiger lifts its body, it not only lifts itself but also pushes the enemy's body. Lift, it emphasizes the coordination of the body, and if it pounces, it is strong, while if it lifts, it is soft. Combining strength and softness makes one enemy many. As Chiu Lao drank, his body suddenly turned and he probed his palms into claws, rapidly advancing in 3 directions up and down. Cut. Unexpectedly. Tigers have tails, people have legs. Between kicks and sweeps, they take their lives step by step. There is no cloud for thousands of miles, only a red sun hanging in the center, like drops of blood. After demonstrating several times, Chiu Lao saw that the apprentices under him were all fighting in a dignified manner before squinting at the sun, waving his hands, and returning to his room for lunch break. Finally left. The chubby little man who had beaten the tiger like 3 moves 3 or 4 times next to Jiang Shu took a long breath, sweating profusely on his body, and his cotton jacket tightly pressed against his skin. Practicing martial arts is too difficult, brother, why are you so skilled? The little chubby man swayed his legs and looked at Jiang Shu with admiration in his eyes. With his gaze, it was natural to see that Jiang Shu, like him, had not yet reached the realm of transporting qi and blood. But in the same realm, later Jiang Shu was more persistent and talented than him. Hungry Tiger sits on a pile in the cave, standing for 1 round is longer than his 2 rounds. Beat the tiger in 3 moves, more stylish than him. No, you're quite impressive. Jiang Shu finished his work and took a steady breath. He didn't deliberately flatter, judging from the appearance of the chubby guy, he was only 14 or 15 years old. On Xuanqing, it's just the age of graduating from junior high school. But little Fatty has already sensed qi and blood, and can directly enter undergraduate studies. Even in this Hungry Tiger martial arts school, those who transport qi and blood are all young people over 18 or 19, even in their 20s. At the age of 14 or 15, sensing qi and blood cannot be considered poor. Where is there? Where is there? The chubby little man waved his hand repeatedly and leaned over, whispering, "That's all from eating. My dad said that if you want to practice martial arts, the first step is to eat more, eat hard, eat big and special until you can't eat at all. Then stand still and digest." This time, I sneaked over behind my father's back. I heard that the steak technique at the Ahu martial arts school has a miraculous effect. After practicing, my stomach became hungry and unbearable, just like a tiger that had been hungry for several days. Then I continued to eat more, and eat more. In this way, my martial arts will definitely progress rapidly. Brother, my name is Zhou Yang. My father has opened several restaurants in the city. If there is a shortage of meat, you can come to the restaurant at the original price. Just give me your name. Jiang Shu. Just returning his own name, Jiang Shu didn't say anything more. After 3 months in Pingling County, Jiang Shu didn't know how precious meat was. What restaurant can sell meat at cost price? I'm afraid I didn't just step into the restaurant in the first step, but I boarded the Zhou family's boat in the second step. Sure enough, the world is different, and human nature is also different. On the mysterious star, 14 or 15-year-old children cannot have such a heavy scheming. Wearing 2 realms, Pingling County regards it as a precious meat that can be easily purchased on the Xian star until it is too much to eat. Why owe someone a favor for such a small resource? Although this chubby little guy sensed his qi and blood, it seems that he still relies on his strong financial resources. With such a keen mind, martial arts may not necessarily go far. Martial arts are like climbing high mountains or wading deep waters. Those who lack great perseverance and grandeur cannot climb high or venture deep. It is truly unparalleled wisdom. Jiang Shu closed his eyes and stopped paying attention to what the chubby little man was saying. He recalled every move of Qiu Lao today and stood still again, crouching like a tiger, breathing like a tiger. The tiger form 3 is still a bit too profound for him now. After playing several times, he discovered many problems on himself. The gaze is not fierce enough to capture the soul, and there is not enough explosive force when pouncing. The strength of the arms and palms also needs to be honed again. When lifting, I almost twisted my waist due to excessive force. It can be seen that the coordination of one's own body is also insufficient, unable to be firm, let alone soft. As for the final cut, my performance was even worse. Perhaps after transporting qi and blood, practicing the tiger form 3 moves can better understand its depths. Seeing Jiang Shu closing his eyes, he stood at the stake. The chubby Zhou Yang pursed his lips and spoke to the new apprentice on the other side, saying, "Practicing martial arts is too difficult. Brother, why are you so skilled?" The words of the chubby little man did not stir any waves in Jiang Shu's heart. He stood up, breathed, and punched. It lasted for an hour before finally stopping. I returned to my jacket and closed my eyes for a brief rest. He always remembers that this is Pingling County. Not a safe dark star. He must ensure that he is full of chi and blood, able to hit his best form at any time with every punch and kick. Besides, he still has important things to do tonight. Until dusk, old Qiu did not come out again, and the apprentices gradually left the yard one by one. Jiang, if you have the chance, you must go to the restaurant. He greeted Jiang Shu, and the chubby Zhou Yang patted Han, saying, Han, let's go. Today, I'll take you to the restaurant. When you get to know each other in the future, you can go alone and give me your name. Zhou, I'm not going anymore. I may not be able to afford the cost price either. Oh my, Han, what's wrong if you can't afford the cost price? You can charge on credit. Think about it, you've joined a martial arts school now. If you don't have enough meat to replenish, it might take a long time to move your chi and blood. But now you go to our restaurant and eat meat, you'll arrive at the chi and blood transportation level ahead of time. When your chi and blood are transported, you can recycle your whole body's chi and blood, step by step. When you truly become a martial artist in the skin grinding realm, you still need a little meat money. It seems like it's also. That must be. The voices of the chubby little man and the silly big one are getting farther and farther away. Jiang Shu closed his eyes, stood still, and breathed. A panel slowly emerges. Jiang Shu, horse step post. Xiaocheng, 565/1000, hungry tiger sitting whole pile. Beginner, 35/1000, hungry tiger breathing method. Beginner, 35/1000, tiger-shaped 3 styles. Beginner, 12 out of 1000, countdown to 2 realms shuttle. 0.40, the martial arts of this world must have even more magical aspects. Stake techniques and breathing techniques may just be the foundation. Having a panel, he knows better than those apprentices what level he has reached. The hungry tiger sitting cave stake is indeed more mysterious than the horse step stake. With just beginners, one can sense chi and blood. According to the calculation of proficiency, the beginner's chi and blood induction, Xiaocheng's chi and blood transportation, and Deshang's chi and blood circulation throughout the body will reach the grinding skin state perfectly upon completion. How should one cultivate the realm above the realm of grinding leather? What kind of mystery is the realm above? Jiang Shu looked up at the sky. The city is shrouded in dark clouds, and the setting sun sets over the mountains. The distant sky seemed to be shrouded in a layer of mist, making it difficult to see clearly. A cold wind blew by, and he put on his coat, put away the lime powder and electric stick, and walked out of the inner city. Outer city. Yusher. The houses on the street are mostly closed, and only some restaurants and gambling houses are still lit up inside and outside the alleys. Under these slightly lit lights, Jiang Shu took off his wig, stepped on his own shadow, and walked towards the bluegrass lane, step by step, slowly and firmly. At this point, the moon is dark. The wind is high. It is advisable to kill. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. What I'm seeking, just having clear thoughts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. What I'm seeking, just having clear thoughts. Carnivores are brave and fierce. For martial arts practitioners who have not yet officially entered the martial arts world, meat is a resource for cultivation. Only by eating meat can we quickly strengthen our chi and blood. This was felt by Jiang Shu as soon as he got into the horse stance. After the induction of chi and blood, there is even more pleasure without meat. Every morning, more than 10 big meat buns are just filling the stomach. Fortunately, it was on Xuanqing. If he were in Pingling County, relying on the difficult-to-obtain meat resources in the outer city, perhaps by now, at most, he would have been able to get started with horse steps. He is like this with a skilled panel, let alone the rest of the people in the outer city. It can be said that in the outer city of Pingling County, besides the leader of the gang, there is support from wealthy families, and they can also contribute to their own martial arts training. Other warriors can only go to the inner city and offer sacrifices to the wealthy in order to obtain more meat. So, the only thing I need to pay attention to in the entire Green Snake gang is the leader. The main leader of the hall below, although also some practitioners of the circulation of qi and blood throughout the body and the transportation of qi and blood. But most of them have their own names and are full of surging qi and blood, perhaps they have been worn away in the midst of wine and lust. As for ordinary gang members, they may not even be as skilled as the manual workers working at the dock. One by one, relying on their identity as gang members, they are domineering, but in reality, their footsteps are floating and their fists are weak. How many punches can such scumbags withstand? Jiang Shu's face was covered with a veil, imagining himself as a hungry tiger coming out of a hole, each step nurturing his momentum. In his past life, he died at 30 and had a deep obsession with longevity. But he knew better that longevity was only the purpose, and without any means of killing, he himself would only be a fat and tender lamb. Turtles live a long life. How many long-lived turtles are there in the market? Great power belongs to oneself, and the means are not false to external things, in order to truly achieve longevity. Blue Grass Lane. The famous enchanting place at the junction of three gangs in the outer city of Pingling County. Before approaching, the occasional moans of waves from the small room crawled into Jiang Shu's ears like mosquitoes. The sound was like water entering oil, surging his qi and blood. Jiang Shu frowned, he really didn't expect his body to have such a big reaction. Yes, qi and blood induction is ultimately just induction. Practitioners in this realm have strong qi and blood, and are most fond of wine and lust. If one's mind is not strong enough and lingers here, it can lead to a lack of progress in martial arts, a decline in qi and blood, and a decrease in strength to an ordinary person. Only by reaching the realm of qi and blood transport, and carrying the entire body's qi and blood, can we barely resist the desire in our hearts. As long as it is not entangled in alcohol and lust, you can transport qi and blood, and adjust your state. Taking a deep breath, Jiang Shu suddenly looked towards the alley entrance. At the entrance of the alley, there were several women wearing inferior jackets, heavily dressed and waving against the door. The skin is rough and slightly dark, with a seemingly curvy figure and an indistinguishable droop. In the dying dynasty, commoners got married early and had children early. The youngest woman who can pick up guests in Beitsao Lane is also a woman in her 20s. I don't even know how many sons there are now. As for those middle-aged Sun Yang's kiln sisters, I'm afraid their grandchildren are all piled up. Sure enough, as long as you look at your face, even the most seductive voice can suddenly become tasteless. Jiang Shu, a heavy facial controller, snorted coldly and stepped into the Blue Grass Lane. The third to last room, the deepest part of the alley, Zhao Tai is really good at picking a seat. Yusher is the best time for business in Beitsao Lane. There are not many kiln sisters outside the alley. On the other hand, some members of the gang crowded through other alleys, carrying wine bottles and belching alcohol, emitting a strong odor. If the girls in the Blue Grass Lane are so energetic, why does Lord Zheng still like Mr. Rabbit? Who knows, it's fortunate that I'm burly. Otherwise, what would I do if Master Zheng said he took a liking to me? I notice that you are a big and dark person, but it's not perfect. I'm approaching Master Zheng and won't even change a small leader. Jiang Shuwei held his breath, but his pace was not fast. He walked while paying attention to the surroundings. Killing requires strength, courage, and means. The graceful departure after killing someone depends on prior preparation. Deep in the Blue Grass Lane, there is the third to last house. There is a small crack in the door, and sound comes from it. Jiang Shu stood at the door like this, his eyes cold, listening to the moans inside and the creaking of the bedboard. After 1 or 2 minutes, his voice gradually subsided. "Master, you're really amazing, my lord." Zhao Tai gasped for breath and laughed proudly, "It's almost time. My brother will come later. You should treat him well, he's still a chick. By the way, recently my master encountered something. How can you make a chick obedient and deliver it to your door? I don't care about chicks or anything, I like men like you. Ha ha ha, this matter is important. Can you help me think about it? Your benefits are indispensable. Come on, come up, think while blowing. A satisfied groan sounded. Outside the door, Jiang Shu squinted his eyes and kicked open the door. He sprinkled the prepared lime powder in his hand towards the 2 lumps of meat on the bed, moving up and down. Zhao Tai, come and die. Jiang Shu drinks low. Who? Zhao Tai, who thought it was his brother's coming, was unprepared until his name was called out. He immediately wanted to turn around, but he forgot that there was still a plump body buried beneath him. In an instant, the immense pain caused by sharp teeth pierced through the heart. The lime powder in the air even entered his eyes when he opened them, and his entire eye socket was filled with unbearable burning. Zhao Tai's heartbeat reached its peak at this moment, and he didn't know who he had offended. He actually wanted to kill him in places like Bai Chao Lane. On weekdays, a few brothers gather together, even if they are not martial artists, but there are many people and some poor refugees who bully whenever they want. But at this moment, he is just one person. Lime splashed on the face with a dead word. How can this not make him afraid? Fear. Gallbladder tremble. Ah. Due to bowing her head, the plump Yao Jie's eyes were not sprinkled with lime powder. She let out a scream and her mouth was blood-stained, but immediately covered her mouth, trembling on the bed. Loud noise. Pull out the electric stick from behind and throw it towards Yao Jie, hitting her head straight. Bang. Brave man, spare your life. Grandpa, spare your life. I'll pay 30 taels of silver, I'll buy my life. Zhao Tai let out a scream, his body trembling as he spoke. He couldn't see who it was, he didn't know who it was, his legs were weak, he wanted to run, but he couldn't get up at all. I didn't offend anyone, even if I did, with so much money, I should be able to buy back my life. However, he could never have imagined that the person in front of him paid no attention to silver. With a strong momentum and no hesitation, he punched him straight at the forehead. Who? Fists drive the wind. At this time, Jiang Shu had already reached a strength of 300 pounds when lifted with one arm. By taking a step forward, the power unleashed by a punch is multiplied several times. This punch began to accumulate momentum from the courtyard of the Ahu martial arts school. He punched 1,000 fists. Just for the sake of, now this punch erupts with a murderous aura. I, Jiang Shu, have committed this murder. Not seeking wealth. All I ask for is clarity of thought. Those who block my thoughts. Kill. 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 End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Return. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Return. I am a member of the Green Snake Gang, Master Zheng. You. If you kill me, Master Zheng will not let you go. The fist wind was cold and aimed straight at Zhao Tai's face. Zhao Tai trembled and made a sound. Release your mother. One punch. Blood flows out from Zhao Tai's ears and nose. Jiang Shu's figure approached, his eyes like a tiger's gaze, his arms like a big bow, and he hugged Zhao Tai's neck with a sudden twist. Pup. So this is the tiger-shaped 3-move pup. Tiger-shaped 3 moves are killing techniques. How can one comprehend the subtleties without killing anyone? The Green Snake Gang, Zheng Hall leader, Tu Yi, recalling today, Zhao Tai saw his gaze as if he had seen prey. A guess floated in Jiang Shu's heart. Damn it, bad luck. Picking up the electric stick on the ground, inserting it into the back, casually picking out a few taels of silver from the clothes wrapped around the table, and then pouring the candlelight onto their clothes. Jiang Shu turned around in the midst of the flames and walked towards the low house where he had already stepped on a bit. He lightly stepped on a few bricks and climbed over the wall. Behind me. Which one who suffered 1,000 knives set fire? I'm running out of water. Bring water quickly. Dead people, dead people. This is Zhao Tai from the Green Snake Gang. The killer was a short-haired masked man. Go and inform the hall master quickly. Listening to the panicked shouts of the Bluegrass Lane, Jiang Shu returned to Chushi Lane, his small house of more than 10 square meters, and his thoughts flashed in his heart. The figure disappeared, as if it had never appeared here before. Qingjiang Garden. Jiang Shu pulled open the curtains, and the sunlight was glaring. The occasional sound of cars echoed through the air to his ears. It's clearly the first time killing someone. Not only did he not feel any discomfort, but his whole body was comfortable, blood surged, and every sweat hole seemed to be trembling with excitement. No wonder in the previous life, there was a book that said knights violated the ban by using martial arts. With martial arts in hand, one cannot bear any grievances. If you endure more grievances, your thoughts will become blocked. Without clear ideas, why climb high mountains and wade deep waters? How can one achieve great perseverance and grandeur? Pop. Lift up. Cut. In the small room, Jiang Shu took off his coat and moved around. What a pity. If Xiao Tai's useless person is in the realm of qi and blood induction, it would be great if he could force himself to use a few more moves. After practicing several times at Puyi, Jiang Shuheo sighed that the tiger-shaped 3 moves were the true means of killing. Unfortunately, I only managed to pounce the most easily, and both lifting and cutting lacked a killing intent. After receiving the credit, Jiang Shu's qi and blood calmed down, and he undressed and went to bed. From waking up in the school dormitory in the early morning of yesterday until 6 o'clock this morning, he has not slept for more than 20 hours. It's time to take a good rest. Jiang Shu fell asleep until the alarm clock rang at 11 o'clock. After practicing martial arts, his heart was crystal clear and he had no distractions. Basically, every time he slept, it was a deep sleep. 3 hours is enough for an average person to sleep for 6 hours. Several messages popped up on WeChat on my phone, which I haven't looked at much. Jiang Shu, you're taking a break from school. I borrowed the chair. If you don't come, Jiang Shu, please put some books on my desk. You can't stay in the dormitory anymore. The water and electricity bills from last semester have been refunded. A total of 5,388 yuan. Jiang Shu, are you still using your meal card after taking a break from school? Lend it to me. Cross out all the messages and don't reply to any of them. He attended a humanities class in his 2nd and 3rd year of high school, with only 17 boys in the class. But it was these 17 boys who were assigned to each other and paired up, making it look like they were in love. Throughout his sophomore year, he didn't have any friends to chat with, and he always ate and read alone. In the 3rd year of high school, I was too lazy to get along with others because I broke the prenatal mystery. It is precisely because of this that, as an observer, he can better see who his classmates are. I came to ask myself about the chair and desk, but in fact, they have already occupied it now. Sending a message is just notifying oneself. As for the dormitory water and electricity bills and meal cards, I'm afraid I didn't even think about giving them, otherwise I would just give them a simple and clear WeChat red envelope. Well, maybe you want some balance from your meal card. Without turning off WeChat, Jiang Shu reached the top and clicked on a portrait of a long grass-colored bun, sending a message. Are you up yet? Let's go out for dinner. I didn't get up, I didn't have money, and I'm going to starve to death in bed. My treat, Jiang Shu said quickly, roast meat or hot pot? Roast meat. Self-service. Get up. Okay. Putting his phone in his pocket, Jiang Shu opened the door and walked out. Standing at his sister's door, he said, I'll go take a shower first. You can wait for 10 minutes before coming out. I know it, Jiang Shu. Can I go in my pajamas? I'm freezing to death. Put it on, I'll go take a shower. If you take a shower, you know how to take a shower. Stupid. What I mean is you'll also wear pajamas later. Why? So I won't look very strange. Oh. Jiang Shu returned to his room, took out the blue fluffy thick cotton nightgown that Jiang Yenue had chosen for him during the Chinese New Year, walked into the bathroom, took a few minutes to wash himself, went to the bathroom, brushed his teeth, then put on the nightgown and opened the door. At the door, Jiang Yenue, dressed in thick blue fluffy cotton pajamas, was already standing. The pajama hat was draped over her head, and her long rabbit ears looked extremely cute. She rubbed her hands together and sighed, I'll take 10 minutes too. I understand, about an hour. Fart. Watching his sister puff her cheeks into the bathroom, Jiang Shu walked to the living room, practicing horseback riding while turning on the TV to broadcast news. The proficiency of horse step stakes slowly jumps on the panel. Although the upper limit is not as high as the hungry tiger sitting whole pile. But for Jiang Shu, there are two excellent points to the current horse stance stakes. One thing is that it doesn't have any side effects, it won't be like a hungry tiger sitting on a pile. After practicing for 1 or 2 hours, it will become unbearable and require secret medicine or meat for nourishment. The second is that Ma Buzhuang has already been brushed to a small level by him. It is always easier to brush it to the big end than to brush it to the small end from the hungry tiger sitting whole pile, as it can enter the stage of qi and blood transportation faster. It has been proven that Jiang Shu still knows his sister very well. 1 hour is 1 hour. The siblings left the community and walked to the bus stop. Jiang Shu, when I become the CEO in the future, I must buy a big and beautiful car. The wind is too cold. Woo-woo. Jiang Yenue glanced at the message on her phone that the bus still had 10 minutes to arrive, and her face turned pale in the wind. If it weren't for the temptation of barbecue, she would want to go home directly now. Air conditioning and bedding surpass Immortals. Well, buy a domestically produced one, just a mindless refrigerator, a color TV, and a large sofa. Anyway, you don't know how to look at the engine. Jiang Shu took off his pajamas and handed them to Jiang Yenue. Put 2 gloves in. Jiang Shu, you're crazy, you're not cold. Do you understand the value of being a genius in martial arts? It's just a cold breeze, and you also want to freeze me. Jiang Shu was wearing an undergarment. Although he had not yet reached the level of qi and blood transportation, he had only mastered the basic skills of the piles and breathing technique, and had only achieved a small success in the piles. The growth of qi and blood in the body is stronger than moving forward, and prolonged exposure to cold may still be unbearable. But if it's only a few minutes, just run the breathing method. Brother, you are so kind to me. Jiang Shu sat in a cave hungry for a tiger, using his breathing technique but did not respond in a timely manner. However, Jiang Yenue's next sentence almost caused him to break his martial arts skills, and even the entry-level hungry tiger's breathing became chaotic in an instant. In the future, when I become the CEO and buy a luxury car, I will definitely hire you as a driver to satisfy your needs. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Taking Tigers as Teachers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Taking Tigers as Teachers in Thai Mall. Feeling the warm air conditioning in the mall, Jiang Yenue took a deep breath and her body came to life like a fish entering the water. Throwing the pajamas back to Jiang Shu, Jiang Yenue quickly walked to the self-service barbecue restaurant where the family's average consumption was the lowest. No drinks, starch sausage. A little seafood, mainly meat. Jiang Shu finished paying and casually found a seat to sit in. After practicing martial arts for 3 months, he naturally knew that only fresh meat could supplement and strengthen the practitioner's qi and blood to the greatest extent. The meat in the buffet is often frozen for an unknown number of years, and its energy levels are as low as freezing point, providing some ordinary people with a delicious taste. However, who wants the person to eat to be their own sister? Glancing at Jiang Yenue, who was like diligent bees darting around in front of each stage, Jiang Shu closed his eyes and practiced the hungry tiger breathing technique. He sat on the hungry tiger sitting pill for about 10 minutes, until his stomach occasionally let out a deep growl. And when Jiang Yenue returned, she saw Jiang Shu standing still with his eyes closed and didn't speak. She brushed her phone while placing the grilled meat on his plate. Jiang Shu, have you already sensed qi and blood? When Jiang Shu opened his eyes and picked up the first string of meat, Jiang Yenue suddenly asked. Since the announcement of martial arts in the Xia dynasty, many people have learned through news and the internet that practicing pile skills can lead to 3 levels. Qi and blood sensing, qi and blood transport, and the circulation of qi and blood throughout the body. But among ordinary people, few know what specific symbols these 3 realms have and how they are divided. I didn't know that. Dipped in soul seasoning and took a bite of the meat, Jiang Shu said vaguely. Hey, it's not very possible for me to think about it. There's no one who can quickly make it to the undergraduate level after only 3 months of study. If it's so exaggerated, Jiang Shu, you can practice martial arts in elementary school and stand up. I haven't even entered junior high school yet, so you're going to college. No, you haven't fully grown up in elementary school yet. You still need to start practicing from the 1st and 2nd year of high school. After 3 years, you will have the lowest weight, and even have the potential to sprint to the university. It's so terrifying. Jiang Yenue had a frightened expression on her face with a small dried fish. The universities in Xia country are divided into colleges, regular universities, prestigious universities, and universities. Among them, universities have the highest value, and the vast Xia kingdom only has 4 universities. Xingjing University, Donghai University, Jiangnan University, and Tianshu University. Those who are able to attend universities are without exception the proud ones in their studies. They have not won several provincial awards and are hesitant to fill out their preferences. Even in Jicheng, a second-tier city, the number of students who can attend universities every year is only 40.50. Fortunately, Jiang Shu is not such a martial arts genius. If she can really enter the academy with her martial arts talent, how will she hire her sister in the future? I'm afraid he's not directly suppressing me. Don't be so scary. If you're free this afternoon, come with me to the zoo. Jiang Shu ate meat very quickly, and soon a pile of iron skewers added to the table. I envy you so much. It would be great if I could eat as well as you do. For a self-service barbecue of 80 yuan, Jiang Shu, you can at least eat the boss's cost of 300 to 400 yuan. By calculation, you can earn a net profit of 200 to 300 yuan per meal. Eating 2 meals a day is equivalent to saving 10,000 yuan per month. By the way, what did you say earlier, go to the zoo? Are you rich? Have, how much? Jiang Yenue's eyes lit up as she thought it would be great to slaughter her brother today and enjoy a meal, but she didn't expect there would be any extra food. Beat the tycoons. Strike the landlord. The 800 you took from your own hands, I want you to return it today with interest. 100. Okay. Quickly turn around. My WeChat account is already hungry and thirsty. From my future salary, deduct it. Jiang Shu ate a few skewers of vegetables to relieve his boredom and said, isn't it because your CEO said he hired me to work as a bodyguard and driver? This salary should be at least 10,000 yuan. 100 yuan, a small amount, deduct it directly from my salary. What? No, you're a dog, right? Hard. My fist has hardened. At this moment, Jiang Yenue really had the urge to practice martial arts. Very strong. I just want to ask, how can an ordinary person improve and suppress a martial artist who may have already sensed chi and blood within 1 minute of practicing martial arts? 1 minute, no more. No more, it will be tiring. Jiang Yanue ultimately decided to accompany Jiang Shu to the zoo. It's definitely not because of the milk tea she's holding in her hand. Jiang Shu, if you buy me such a delicious cup of milk tea every day, I won't be angry with you anymore. Okay, you can buy it yourself, and the money will be deducted from my salary. Playing a meme multiple times will result in a deduction of money. Will it be deducted from the salary? Jiang Yanue suddenly felt very tired. She vaguely remembered that her previous brother was not like this. Before, my brother's intelligence was always beaten by himself. Can practicing martial arts not only grow limbs, but also intelligence? Jiang Yanue looked out the window and decided not to talk to this bodyguard and driver who only talks about salary deductions for the whole day today. Too incompetent. 15 minutes later. Hey, Jiang Shu, look, there are so many people. Jiang Yanue turned around and opened the car window, sticking her head out and trying to look back. On the other side of the road, a dozen people were still buying tickets at the ticket office at the zoo, while more people entered the zoo one by one while maintaining order and security. The not very small parking lot is already full of cars. She hasn't been to the zoo before. When I was a child, I was even a regular visitor to the zoo. But in recent years, with the development of the times, she and her classmates have mostly gone out to eat delicious food, played murder mystery games, and escaped from the Chamber of Secrets. They rarely come here again. I didn't expect so many people today. Jumping off the car, Jiang Yanue finished the last sip of milk tea and threw it into the trash can. Crossing the road, I realized that there was a sign outside that read, Jicheng Zoo is about to relocate. The last 3 days. All ticket prices are free. Register at the ticket office. Oh, it turns out there's going to be a move. Why are there so many people? Jiang Shu, did you catch the news about moving out early, so you came to see it specifically? Do you see me as someone who brushes this kind of news? Jiang Shu glanced at Jiang Yanue with confusion in her heart. The zoo can also be considered as the infrastructure of a city. How can it be relocated arbitrarily? What's more strange is that, generally speaking, this kind of relocation will be announced in advance on the official account of Jicheng City to explain where to move. But now when he turns on his mobile phone, he doesn't see any news on Jicheng official account. Only when browsing forums did I notice someone posting that there is a new policy that zoos in second and third-tier prefecture-level cities will be collectively relocated to the local provincial capital in the near future. Some first-tier cities have even started catching stray cats and dogs. This decree is very sudden and strange. Just like 3 months ago, it was announced that high school students, regardless of their humanities or sciences, can be converted to martial arts students, just like Shima Buzhuang. After queuing at the ticket office for over 20 minutes, the two finally entered the zoo. Jiang Yanue decided to follow her childhood route and revisit every corner of the zoo, occasionally taking photos and posting them to her class group. Jiang Shu, on the other hand, put his phone in his pocket, didn't think much anymore, and after talking to his sister, walked straight to the tiger zone and quietly watched the tigers in the zoo through the glass. Learn to pace, sit down, and breathe. Tiger, Cho Lao, myself. The three figures, in Jiang Shu's mind, kept practicing and gradually overlapped. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Fragrance of Wine-Drunk People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The Fragrance of Wine-Drunk People. The Zhuanggong in Pingling County mainly focuses on observing fierce beasts and birds. But how many martial artists can come into close contact with hungry tigers, red apes, eagles, and white cranes? What is imagined without personal experience is always just imagination. Not only does it fail to grasp the essence, but progress can also be very slow. From this point of view, for martial arts practitioners with low talent, learning the Zhuagong in Pingling County may not be as good as the Xuanqing horse step Zhuo. Mabu Zhuang is a versatile tool that anyone can learn. In the entire Xia country, there is not only one pile skill, such as the horse step pile. Various hidden martial arts aristocratic families, high-ranking military officials, and even daimyos definitely have better skills than horseback stakes. But when it comes to cost-effectiveness and universality, horse steps must be among the top few. Jiang Shu crouched down like a tiger, breathing like a tiger. On the panel, the proficiency values of the Ahu sitting whole pile and Ahu breathing technique are increasing. I just ate an unknown amount of meat at the self-service barbecue restaurant, which is quickly broken down and digested in the intestines and stomach. Qi and blood energy are transported to the limbs and the entire spine. Unfortunately, the tigers in Jiqing Zoo have been detained for too long and lack the ferocity they deserve. Jiang Shu can feel the tiger squatting and breathing. But I couldn't feel the hungry tiger sitting in the cave, the hungry tiger breathing. The latter has patience, explosiveness, and supreme ferocity that the former never had before. However, fortunately, I have my own panel. A permanent certificate. Once you enter the martial arts world, as long as you are willing to work hard, you will achieve perfection. In the following 2 days, Jiang Shu did not return to Pingling County. In the morning, he watched tigers at the zoo, pondered squatting and breathing, and in the afternoon, he went home to stand on horse steps and improve his proficiency. In the evening, I stopped practicing martial arts and had a good meal with my parents to chat. Practicing martial arts is like pulling a bow, stretching and relaxing. Moderate rest is not necessarily a form of cultivation. Jiang Shu, Dying Dynasty Language/Writing. Introduction, 998/1000, Ma Bu Zhuang. Xiao Cheng, 596/1000, Hungry Tiger Sitting Whole Pile. Beginner, 128/1000, Hungry Tiger Breathing Method. Beginner, 128/1000, Tiger-Shaped 3 Styles. Beginner, 80 out of 1000, Countdown to 2 Realms Shuttle. Midnight, with the foundation laid by the horse steps, coupled with the tiger squatting and breathing in school, it really has a miraculous effect. There is almost a 50% proficiency bonus in a day. It would be great if the zoo didn't relocate. Going there every day should still improve a lot. I have been slacking off on my horse stance these days, and I should quickly improve in the coming period of time to practice as quickly as possible until I reach my peak. The language and writing of the Dying Dynasty should be written to a level of Xiaocheng or above, preferably to see if it can be achieved. A county town has martial artists who practice the dirty realm. The county town, the state town, and I have not yet been exposed to real martial arts. The breathing techniques and pile skills I have learned are only passed down through words and deeds, and there is no written transmission. If I don't lay a solid foundation in writing now, I may be too late to learn the true martial arts cultivation methods in the future. Opportunities never wait for anyone. The entry-level language and writing should be like the 9-year compulsory education in our Xia country. Simple life is sufficient, but one cannot study some classics. Martial arts, concise and direct to the main road. It is definitely not something that entry-level language and writing can explain. Unfortunately, Qin Fuzi is leaving the outer city. If he wants to go further, it seems he can only go to the inner city. Jiang Shu looked at his panel and thought to himself. In an unfamiliar world, knowledge is always the most important. He followed the refugees and infiltrated the outer city of Pingling County, eavesdropping on Qin Fuzi's elementary school lectures and learning basic writing skills. Later on, I prepared to practice and became a beginner. It took me over 2 months to reach the level of almost complete mastery. There are better teachers and professors in the inner city, but all of them are in the school. If you want to enter, you must have the registered residence of Pingling County. Don't worry, practice martial arts first. If you really become a martial artist, a small registered residence will be solved after you tell the county government. With a thought, the next moment. Pingling County. Tsusha Alley. Jiang Shu wore a wig, changed clothes, hid lime powder, and pushed the door out. He first inquired about the current situation of Mr. Li and learned that he had been sweeping the floor and pouring night pots in the Green Snake Gang for 2 consecutive days. Without saying much, he went straight to the inner city. By the time Jiang Shu arrived at the Ahu Martial Arts School, it was almost noon. He drank the secret medicine broth and operated the Hungry Tiger sitting whole pile and Hungry Tiger breathing technique. Jiang, why haven't you come for 2 days? You can't get the secret medicine broth, so your martial arts practice has slowed down. Jiang Shukai stood still, and Zhou Yang leaned over with a chubby face and said, "Have you encountered something bothersome? If you're short of money, tell me, I can still get a few taels of silver." Stopping his breathing technique and maintaining his standing position, Jiang Shu replied, "It's just a small matter. It's already resolved. We'll come back every day in the future. The secret medicine broth of Ahu Martial Arts School is only a diluted secret medicine. It is only effective for ordinary young people who cannot afford meat at all and have accumulated half a lifetime of savings to practice martial arts in order to change their fate. The qi and blood supplementation brought by the secret medicine broth is only enough for about 2 hours of practicing the Hungry Tiger sitting cave pile and Hungry Tiger breathing method." Jiang Shu carefully calculated this on the first day. However, the little chubby man's words did serve as a wake-up call for him. "I still have to come frequently in the future, otherwise coming over every now and then may be quite eye-catching. However, Jiang, do you feel it? It seems like this secret medicine broth is not enough for just 1 serving. I'm actually okay, after all, my talent is not good, and I'm afraid of fatigue. I can't stand it after just standing for 1 or 2 hours. Han, that's really fierce. I can stand for at least 4 or 5 hours a day. I ate 6 pounds of meat at the restaurant these days." The little chubby man had a soft voice, raised 6 fingers, and his face was extremely exaggerated. According to Han Ji's current statement, he can transport qi and blood within a month. It's a pity. It would have been better if you had gone, Jiang Gu, and you could have received the same treatment as Han Gu. Our restaurant's meat supply is also tight now, and Han Gu will need more in the future. However, if Jiang Gu were to go, I, Zhou Yang, would have sacrificed my own resources and given Jiang Gu and I 3 pounds of meat every day. 6 pounds of meat for 2 days. He wouldn't have already sold himself to your restaurant, would he?" Jiang Shu seemed to joke, but his gaze unconsciously turned towards the apprentice surnamed Han. In Pingling County, where resources are monopolized, the cheapest 1 pound of pork belly costs 1 coin of silver. $3 a day. Including refined rice and the like, the monthly expenditure on food alone exceeds 10 taels of silver, which is more than the monthly martial arts training fee of the martial arts school. If you don't sell your life, it's really like this week's family is doing charity. Thinking of a certain novel I saw in my past life, also surnamed Han, the difference is even greater than the difference between a person and a dog. Jiang Shu's words fell, and Zhou Yang's face stiffened instantly. As he had been rolling around in the business since childhood, he couldn't hear the mockery in this joking tone. Suddenly, his whole face turned red and blue. After a while, he accompanied him with a smile and said, "What did Brother Jiang say? We are all martial brothers, how can we sell? I sincerely hope and support Brother Han to become a martial artist soon. I won't disturb Brother Jiang anymore, he will continue to stand on the stakes." As Jiang Shu watched the chubby Zhou Yang turn around, he withdrew his gaze and lowered a chill into his eyes. Since killing Zhao Tai, his thoughts have been clear and he feels like a switch has been turned on inside his body. If this little chubby guy still wants to keep his eyes open, inquire about his background, cause trouble for him, and block his path to martial arts. He really doesn't mind, he has 1 more life in his hands. stand still and breathe. From time to time, I also watch a few apprentices who have already carried their chi and blood, where they fight with their fists and feet and engage in tiger-shaped 3 moves. Jiang Shu is inclusive and draws on the strengths of others. These apprentices in the martial arts school, although not yet martial artists, mostly stay in the transportation of chi and blood, but without exception, they all have more experience than him at this time. Time flies by. Jiang Shu glanced at the sun and didn't wait until the setting sun set, so he packed his clothes and left the Ahu martial arts school. At a well-known wine stall in the inner city, I made a pot of high-quality wine and bought some condiments before heading towards the outer city. At around 5 p.m., Mr. Li also finished his day's work. He poured out the entire night pot from the gang at the entrance of the hall, cleaned the entire floor, carried the broom on his back, and hunched his body. As he was preparing to go back, a familiar voice suddenly sounded, "Uncle Li." He looked up and saw not far away, Jiang Shu standing in the setting sun, holding a wine jug. The cork of the wine pot seemed to have been pulled out, and the refreshing aroma of wine drifted down his nose in the cold wind. "Jiang. Brother Jiang, why did you come?" Mr. Li quickly patted the dust off his body, and his old face squeezed out an ugly smile. "Uncle Li, I remember you said last time that you drank the best wine once before, it was a delicious food in the world, right?" Jiang Shu looked at the ground at the entrance of Poison Fang Hall, feeling a bit complicated in his heart. He knew that old Li came to Poison Fang Hall to pour a night pot and sweep the floor, largely because of himself. After all, old Li works in the escort agency. As long as he licks his old face and asks the people in the agency to say something, some ordinary members of the Poison Fang Hall should still give him face. But, that's not it, I'm not bragging to you. That time, the old man was only 10 years old and was still herding cows for Mr. Dong in town. Mr. Dong's daughter got married and set up a good banquet. When they all finished eating, I took advantage of people not paying attention. Hey, I sneaked under the table, reached out my hand, and stole a small wine cup, which happened to have a sip inside. Don't underestimate this sip of wine, it's all thanks to my quick hands. None of us who herd cows together drank it. You don't know, but later those mats were all cleaned up and given to the dogs. What a pity. Mr. Li's tone was smug, and his eyes seemed to be shining. That must be an excellent wine. That's right, haven't you treated the old man to the wine from the outer city? It's not that sweet, it's not that fragrant. Then you must try this one I bought from the inner city today. Whether it's good or not, next time I'll bring you a better drink, Uncle Li. Jiang Shu took a step forward, holding a wine jug, the aroma of wine intoxicating. End of this chapter.